Hey everyone, hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going to dive into Bitcoin, the CoinsKid crew. So I've made another indicator for the CoinsKid crew. I've equally revamped one of the old indicators that I've made as well, and we released it under a different name. It makes a little bit more sense to do that as well, and I've dropped a little bit more data into them particular indicators as well. So I'll go through that with you in today's video, but so far so good. I don't necessarily think we've entered a bear market here for Bitcoin. I think we're in a correction since December, and I keep relaying that to you. So basically last week, roughly this time last week, according to the macro signal on the CoinsKid index here, which I create for the CoinsKid crew, we're going down the list and we noticed that this particular coin here was in a green buy. And go back to the videos roughly a week ago. TON, T-O-N, was a green buy. It was in the floor. Everyone was really depressed. And like I said to you, I clicked on the chart, looked at the weekly time frame. You know, CoinsKid index told me to look at this coin, so I did. And this is what we do, okay? So we look at this resistance just there. And this is why I jumped into this. And I relayed this to you last week. Resistance, 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 beautiful ascending triangle, broke out, beautiful impulsive move, back test this resistance and support, got confirmation, breakout, beautiful, oversold conditions on the weekly RSI. So from our buy zone, which I was tagging last week, roughly up 36%. So it's a nice little move. Now, where will this go to? Okay, so basically, I've taught you in the space, resistance, resistance, you know, God candle breakout. You break out and eventually you come back to it to backtest the support. It's called a God candle breakout. A lot of people call it liquidity or whatever, but I just look at it as a God candle breakout, just easier to understand. So when you see a big breakout like that, you do typically come back into that to backtest the support. So basically what we've done here as well, it works on the way up as well. So say you have a level of support where you're constantly holding a level of support and you break down below that in a God candle, you do typically come back up into that. So this is where I think this could come to, some kind of bottom pattern into roughly, I need to get it in the charts for you, and this is where we'll potentially be looking to swing around about $4.58, because support, God candle breakdown becomes resistance, resistance, God candle breakout becomes support. So it's just basic trading. But move to the left and look at your charts, and it works on the daily, the 4 hourly, 5 minute, whatever. You will always see God candle back tests reveal themselves, and it's, you know, potentially a crystal ball to the future price action of these crypto projects. So basically, I've made another indicator for the CoinsKid crew just there. I'm going to go through this indicator with you. It's more of a real-time indicator based on liquidity flowing in and out of the market on a daily basis. Let me jump into that particular indicator that I've created for yourselves right now, okay? So liquidity dance is an indicator made for the CoinsKid crew. It works in two ways. We can use it as a macro view and we can use it as a micro view. So I'm going to show you that. Now, equally, you can use it on the site on coinskid.com, liquidity dance indicator, and I have also made a liquidity dance indicator for you to drop into your trading view charts to help you navigate this market. So basically it works two ways. It's a macro view. Whenever this white line is trending up, Bitcoin's in a downtrend. Whenever it is trending down, Bitcoin's in an uptrend. Really simple, because it's an inverse correlation. So I'll explain this. The white line, liquidity dance, is inversely correlated to the Bitcoin price. This indicator is based on liquidity entering and re-entering the market on a daily basis. So a sharp drop in the liquidity dance after a spike signals cash re-entering the system and encouraging investment. This liquidity influx is seen as bullish for crypto, usually driving prices up. There is a macro level inverse correlation between the liquidity dance and the crypto market. So I'll explain this indicator as best I can, and I'll show you on the micro on TradingView in a moment, okay? Let me dive in. So this indicator, the macro, white line uptrend, Bitcoin downtrend, white line downtrend, Bitcoin uptrend. Really simple. So we've got to respect this indicator, because if this white line does begin to enter an uptrend, then, you know, the increased probability is Bitcoin's in a macro downtrend. It really is that simple. But at the moment, it clearly is not, okay? Because if you take a look here, we've got this peak here, which is your Bitcoin peak in 2021. Then this started to enter that big whopping uptrend, okay? Which is, again, is confluence of the fact that I do think that that was the cycle top of an impulse in 2021. Then Bitcoin began an A, a B, a C wave correction. This was the bottom of the C wave. This was a B wave bull trap high for Bitcoin. It was not the all-time high. This was, I think, around about 61k, 64k, I think it was in April of 2023. So that was the impulsive wave top. And from there, I think you had an A into a B into a C. This was spoofing, probably by FTX. You know, Bitcoin entered a big macro BC at that particular time frame. Then, as this bottomed, look what happened to the white line, which is your liquidity dance. A huge, massive spike up. Okay, that was a massive signal that Bitcoin was about to break bull, and it did. Look at that. So this has been in a whopping downtrend ever since. And at the moment, respectfully, on the macro, it is still in a downtrend. Now, the minute it does something like this, breaks out vertically to the upside, you've got to look at this as a big macro bearish signal. At the moment, we don't necessarily see it. What we're seeing is really simple. Every time we see spikes up, okay, in liquidity dance, it's a buying opportunity for Bitcoin, because look, spike up, a few days later, breakout, spike up, a few days later, breakout, spike up, a few days later, breakout, spike up, a few days later, bottoming, and a push up basically. So we're looking at this. Whenever you see a spike up, usually within a few days, we've got a buying opportunity on Bitcoin. Now, if we take a look at Bitcoin, yesterday, this was spiking up. Now, this is a daily time frame. We zoomed in right now. So this went from 8.95 all the way up to 14.95. So we've seen a bit of a spike up. Literally a day later, what's happening? Bitcoin's trying to break out. It's trying to come back upstairs. So liquidity dance works on the micro time frames. So come to the charts, go to CoinsKid.com, take a look, zoom in, move to the left, look at the inverse correlation playing out. But every time you see a spike up in liquidity dance, usually a few days later, you see the inverse play out in Bitcoin, because like it says here, basically a sharp drop in liquidity dance after a spike signals cash re-entering the system and encouraging investment. So it's basically almost like a crystal ball, but it's in real time, not necessarily 2, 3, 4 weeks down the line. So let me dive into the Bitcoin chart right now to show you in action, okay? So once you've got it into your trading view charts, just follow the process on CoinsKid.com, go to the drop down, go to liquidity dance. Now you can change the color, whatever you want to do, the thickness of the line or anything like that, modify it as best you can. But you know, for me, I'm going to leave it white. Now basically this is a top in, I think it was 2021, wasn't it? We've got the top just there, and as this started to top, look what happened in liquidity dance. It was breaking out. Okay, so this is why we don't necessarily see this yet on this particular top. If anything, what we're still caught in this whopping downtrend in liquidity dance, where we're still making a series of lower highs basically. And that's really important, because as an inverse correlation, you know, from there we've been making these high lows, and currently we're still making one. So the minute this starts to break out to the upside, which is pretty much what it did there, then okay, we entertain the fact that Bitcoin at that point, the increased probability of a downtrend, and this into an uptrend. So at the moment, the inverse correlation is playing out like an absolute boss. So come to your charts, take a look, because on the pivot points, it's really important that we, you know, obviously if we want Bitcoin to be going up and we're looking at alt season and things like that, then the invalidation will be from this point right now, which is a lot of people calling for a bear market. This should break out, because it's exactly what it did there. You know, whopping downtrend, whopping uptrend for liquidity, top up just there. Look at that beautiful spike up just there, and then the lower high, lower low. Sorry, what was happening? Bitcoin was bottoming, and then boom, broke out as this broke down. So we don't quite see that breakout to the upside in liquidity at the moment. Okay, so this is why I've created this for you, because again, I'm just always relying on data, not the emotion of the market. And the data suggests at the moment we've got a series of high lows for Bitcoin, and we've got a series of basically lower highs for liquidity. So these are really key points, because from this point, if we do start to see this break out to the upside and it takes out that previous pivot point, which was in December, which is where Bitcoin basically topped, in my opinion, in some kind of big correction right there, then okay, you know, you've entered a big macro correction, and this breaking out to the upside, making a series of high lows and higher highs like it did there, yes, you've got your confirmation of your big whopping correction. At that point, I can project down. But at the moment, a lot of people say moon tar, bull tar, whatever, but I'm just revealing the structural data to you, which is the thing I rely on most in this market, you know, and always try and find data points and things that help us guide this, you know, crazy space. So at the moment, I think we've got an ABC here, and like I said to you, possible 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bump and run. There's your resistance, breakout, back test. But if we start to see this, we should in theory start to see this in the liquidity continuing its downtrend into the depths. But the minute we start to see this, okay, we've got to kick back, relax, and then I'll target zones and buy zones and big ABC corrections for you going forward for Bitcoin. But until that day comes, I'm just respecting the structure. I hope you understand that. So I don't necessarily think we've entered a bear market. Now, this was an anticipated correction in December. For anyone paying attention, there was a trigger point on a retail top indicator that create for yourselves. So I've actually revamped that particular indicator, and I'm going to go through that with you today. So it's a bit of a lengthy video, but my outlook at the moment is really simple. From this bottom here, where liquidity topped, basically liquidity dance, look at the big spike up. What an opportunity. This is broke out to the upside, and it's done it so far in 5 waves, which is obviously concerning and increase the probability of a major correction. But I don't quite see 5 waves in this last leg. I only see 3. So from this bottom, we've got a 1, into a 2, into a 3, into a 4, into a 5. Now within this 5, just like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't quite see 5 waves. I see 1 into a 2, into a 3, into a 4, missing a final 5th wave, and that's been my primary for a very long time. But like I said to you, from this bottom here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as we push up and we do begin to see 5 waves, this is where I do think Bitcoin is running out of steam, and this is where we have to be cautious. But I'm looking for more structural data. I'm looking for key data points, you know, across the board. Okay, we're in a bear market, we're in a macro correction here, and at that point I have to project down. But at the moment, I'm still giving the benefit of the doubt to Bitcoin here, because simply higher highs, higher lows, beautiful uptrend structure, but everyone's flipping bearish, okay? And we've not seen liquidity enter that big spike up to the upside where it's taken out its previous pivot high, which is this high here that it created in December. If we see that, okay, this is where you were late 2021. But we just don't see it yet. So I hope you understand that. I think at the moment we've got a simple ABC zigzag looking for a final 5th wave here for Bitcoin. So let me dive into the indicator right now that I've created. It's called Dumb Money. Basically, it's a revamp of retail top. So that's my primary at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're missing the last leg here, and I think we could see it over the next few months because of the crystal ball indicator that I've created for yourselves that shows an enormous amount of liquidity re-entering this market relatively soon. Let me show you the Dumb Money indicator that I've created for yourselves. It equally tells us that this was not the top in December, but it was a micro correction. So the Dumb Money indicator is an in-house indicator on CoinsKid.com. You can get it in the indicator section. Basically, it works really simply. It's a revamp of the retail top. So the closer the blue line, Dumb Money, gets to the red dotted line, sell zone, the closer a correction. Really simple. So whenever you see a yellow vertical line appear, it means a micro correction is imminent. Whenever you see a red vertical line appear, it means a macro correction is imminent, and you sell your Bitcoin and you run for your hills. So I've incorporated more data into this. Basically, Dumb Money is retail, okay? And what happens is, you know, people start to show up to the market, your friends, your family, taxi drivers, hairdressers, so on and so forth. They start to show up to the market, and this represents this. And typically what happens is they buy at the top thinking they're going to get rich, and they just get dumped on by the smart money. So the Dumb Money, you know, the trigger point just there was on November the 12th. Every time we'd seen the first in a cycle, every time we see that trigger for this particular chart, there's a window of opportunity, okay, to convert your Bitcoin that you've been doing really, really well on, you know, into an altcoin. And basically was looking at opportunity with you, and I realized that day I'm swapping my Bitcoin for XRP, and it was one of the best trades on XRP I've ever done. And I relayed that to you because, you know, XRP went up from roughly 60 cents, I think it was, to around about 340 at one point. Amazing trade, and Bitcoin is pretty much where it was on that day right now. So we're doing incredibly well on that conversion. You know, long may it continue, because what we've not seen here is a red vertical line, which is your macro correction. So we've seen these micro corrections kick in, and we've seen another trigger warning there in January, and again we've got this micro correction that's kicked in. So if I move to the left, really simple, the blue line represents Dumb Money, which is basically taxi drivers, hairdressers, and people like that thinking they're going to get rich in this market when we're in this market for a very long time buying all the blood, fear and depression, okay? So, you know, basically a trigger warning in October 2021, this come up, went sideways and dropped, but we got the big macro danger zone warning in this particular chart, and this is something we've not seen yet. So if we move to the left, equally in 2021 we've got 2 macro danger zones, okay? So you've got this one here in April, look at that huge crashing correction. So a macro danger zone. Whenever we've seen this chart, Bitcoin has had a whopping correction, and we've just not seen it yet. We have seen a little micro trigger warning, and again if we go back to 2017, it's getting really top here. Then you got your big macro danger zone signal right there, which has led to that huge pullback, and we just don't see it at the moment. So there's no bias. Again, it's just pure data that's into this particular indicator. Really simple going forward. So I'll keep an eye on this for you, because if we're just respecting this data, we have not seen the big macro danger zone warning yet. And I do think potentially, as this Dumb Money begins to bugger off, the increased probability is that we will see that in time. So I'll leave you with that. If you're looking to trade Bitcoin, head over to Bybit. They've got an amazing competition. Equally, go to the CoinsKid index right there. Go to the index, look at the 15-minute signals. You can find shorts and longs. So you're looking for the red sell signals for shorts, and you're looking for the green buy signals, which we currently don't see at the moment on this index for longs, basically. And I've taught you how to do that. Now, Bybit have got an amazing competition. Get involved. The link's in the video description. Take care, everyone. Back to an update on Bitcoin. Stay healthy, stay strong, stay tuned. Bye-bye.